Good evening, race fans. Welcome to tonight's Camping Universe Truck Series for the Intimidator 225 here at Daytona International Speedway. 90 laps for these competitors to make their way around for plate racing, guaranteed to be a good time. 0 fast repairs, 3 sets of tires, and a whole lot of wide open action. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East, always bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, and guaranteed to be a good one here tonight. It's our first time with the Camping Universe Truck Series, so looking forward to seeing what all these drivers can do at Daytona. It's going to be wide open all the way around as you're watching single truck qualifying take place. The number 8, Jared Ziegler, he's one of the odds-on favorite to try and win it here today out there in the number 8 Chevrolet. We're going to see what Ziegler can do. He's one of the league admins here putting this show on for everybody. A lot of very talented and fast drivers. A very strong strength of field, as there is more than several drivers with an over 2,000 I rating. You see a few 3,000s out there, I believe is the highest we have on track right now. Yeah, 3,000 I rating drivers. Bryce Andrus, he's run at 3,000. You've got John Dart, Corey Melton, all in that 3,000 I rating range, as we see Ziegler put down a 53.2 his first time by. That's currently good enough for 8th position for provisional qualifying, but he's still got that one flying lap left. You can see the number 8 machine hugging that inside line, trying to make the track as small as physically possible, and then try and put down a flying lap here at the end. Right now it's Gabe Veman. He's on top of the pole with the number 25 Chevrolet. He did a 52.3 on his first time lapped. But let's see where things are going to settle as all these guys start putting down their second lap of their qualifying run. Generally, you can see the guys run a high line for the first lap, try and gain as much speed and momentum as they possibly can. And then you'll see, as Jared is doing right now, holding down that inside line, trying to make the track as small as he can. And that's good enough for a 52.39 for Ziegler. So that's going to be 8th right now for his qualifying run. You've got Tyler Patterson. He's running the number 1. Looks like he's going to bring it in, though. Not sure what we're seeing going on here. So Patterson not happy with his outlap, going to come back in and try and do it again. Maybe had a bit of an error. Kai Demarest, a newcomer to the series, the number 42 machine. He's out on track. Kai puts himself in 10th place. Daniel J. Jansen, he's running the number 29 Ford F-150. He's out there for qualifying. It's a short qualifying, a 5-minute qualifying session for these drivers, so good enough for 2 laps and not a whole lot of room for mistakes. So let's see what Jensen can put down for his qualifying runs. A lot of drivers out here tonight. Everybody excited for the season opener. I know I am as well. I hope everyone at home is as well. It's going to be a great race among these competitors. 28 drivers making it to the field tonight. A limit of 43. So let's see what Jensen can put down, as he does not have a whole lot of time left in qualifying. Not sure if he's going to have enough time here to get many laps, or a second lap at least, as we are rapidly coming to a close here. And that's going to do it for qualifying. Jensen was able to squeeze into that 6th place spot right as qualifying came to an end. But now it is time to get ready for the main event. Drivers will have a driver's meeting in the simulator. As always, thank you to everybody that tunes in from across the country, supporting your favorite drivers, your favorite league, and sometimes even your favorite broadcaster. It's a pleasure to be up here in the booth with the Camping Universe guys. Again, it's first time with us in the booth broadcasting their races, but we'll be covering the action all season long for these drivers, and it is going to be quite exciting, especially as we have a plate race for our season opener. It is going to be a 16-round season. The chase will start after race 11. This week, again, we've got the Intimidator 225 at Daytona International Speedway. Next week, we've got the Atlanta 200 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Then Nashville, then the iRacing Super Speedway for round 4. That's a track we haven't got to see a whole lot used for different leagues, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see a quote-unquote not real track being used for racing, as these guys are going to be able to hold it wide open. A very diverse schedule we're looking at. We've also got the El Dorado Speedway that we're going to be racing August 24th for the Dirty Mo Media 80. So overall, this is going to be a great season of racing. I know I am very excited. Not a lot of off weeks. The only off week we have, September 7th. The drivers will take a break before coming back September 14th for the Richmond Raceway night for the Virginia 200. So I've got to say, this is probably one of the most unique and I dare say cool schedules we've seen out of the different leagues across the iRacing service. A very, very good, very diverse setup as far as tracks go. And one thing that's always interesting for me as a broadcaster, the first time you call a race for a new series is you don't know the personalities of the drivers, you don't know their driving abilities yet. So it makes it more and more exciting to see who's going to be able to finish where, who's comfortable pushing, who needs to be careful around each other. I was going to wait for that drivers meeting to come to a close, get these guys out there and ready to start their warm-up laps. It is 90 laps here today with 3 green-white checker attempts. And these guys have done a very fantastic job briefing all their drivers and I guess even race control alike on what to expect throughout the season, what is allowed, what's not allowed from the drivers as far as on-track performance goes and behavior in a very extensive rule book, kind of spelling things out so nobody gets lost or confused in the sauce. We always say it for the motorcycle racing we've done in the past is read the rule book, read the rule book, read the rule book. So it's kind of got everything covered for you and really not a whole lot of gray areas. Leader does have lane choice for tonight's race, so you may see some switching up there as guys preferring the high line compared to the low line. No changing lanes before the start-finish line, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. So no 3-wide action before you take the green flag. So not sure what we're going to see tonight out of all these drivers. It's their first time racing together. It's based on a core group of friends that have raced leagues in the past, but they're always recruiting, getting new drivers out there. So it's always an interesting shakeup as you get a very diverse field together for the first time, and especially a track such as Daytona where it's wide open, bumper-to-bumper action. Let's take it through the grid for tonight's main event. Up front, you've got Gabe Veman and the number 25 machine. Dave Gage will be starting second. Don Milkwicks will be starting third. Bryce Anderson fourth. Clark Ganekin will be starting fifth. Daniel Jensen starting sixth. Jeffrey Sykes seventh. Antonio Bianchi will be starting eighth on the grid. Brian Robinson starting ninth. Toby Esty starting 10th. Ty Hood starting 11th. Jared Ziegler, he'll be starting 12th. Brian Ziegler, the brother to Jared, starting 13th. Kai Demarest starting 14th. Corey Melton will be starting 15th tonight. Jesse Rathburn will be starting 16th. John Dart starting 17th. Derek Veman starting 18th. You've got Tyler Patterson, in the number 19 spot. Donald Kendrick in the number 20 grid spot. Cody Schultz starting 21st. Norman King starting 22nd. Chris Morrill starting 23rd. Kevin Nelson starting 24th. And then you've got Nicholas Wing in the number 25 spot. Levi Opitz in the 26th starting grid. Marshall Newton starting 27th. And Caleb Nelson starting 28th to round out our field tonight. And I've got to say, that's quite the field here for our first outing with these Camping Universe truck drivers. 90 laps scheduled for tonight's main event. Who is going to start this season off strong and who's going to go home to the crew with a broken down race truck? Because we've seen it before on plate racing, fixed setups, everybody on the same set. The only thing differing you is your skill on track. It just takes 1 moment's lapse of focus for any driver, and we can quickly find ourselves with the big one here at Daytona. We're going to do the one-siding lap. Pace car will be in this time by, as a reminder, it is Gabe Veman, Bryce Andrus on the front row. Veman will start on the inside line in that number 20 Chevrolet. On the outside line, the bright pink and black of Bryce Andrus and the number 90 machine. It's Chevrolet 1 and 2 right now. Behind them, they've got the first four, Daniel J. Jansen and Don Milkwicks. He's in a Toyota. So a good diverse amount of trucks up here in the top 5 as we get ready to fire things off. Pace car will be coming in this time by green flag is out. It's going to be Gabe Veman on the inside line with a great launch. He gets a push and a shove from the 54 of Don Milkwicks, goes to the inside apron. Everybody has to scatter here to get him back out there. So it's going to be Bryce Andrus now out front and the number 90 machine behind him. Daniel J. Jensen, Toby Estes, and Jared Ziegler on the number 8 machine. So a lot of guys pushing hard early on. Looks like that may be Kai Demarest out there in no man's land, number 42 machine. They may be going 3 wide down the backstretch here. A little early for that advanced shenanigans, but let's see what happens as Andrus throws a bit of a block on Demarest. Demarest charging up the field. Andrus still out front, number 90. Demarest in the number 42. Demarest has support from, I believe that's Clark Ganekin. And now Demarest will be your race leader as they get ready. Demarest is going to throw a bit of a block on Bryce Andrus here. And Demarest will lead the first lap here at Daytona for the Camping Universe Intimidator 225. But it's pack racing. Nobody can really get a breakaway here. So now it's side by side. Demarest and Ganekin in the number 81 machine. Behind them, they've got Donald Kendrick and Bryce Andrus pushing as hard as they can. The entire field is 2 wide, 10 rows deep, and they're going to be once again side by side down the back stretch. Demarest getting a major shove from the number 90 of Bryce Andrus. He shows his 09 on track, so maybe he doesn't have the right transponder for this one. And again, these guys do not have any fast repairs here today, so it just takes 1 moment and you can be in big trouble as the 127 Donald Kendrick got high for a second, maybe trying to squeeze out of the draft, put some fresh air on the front of that truck. But it'll once again be Demarest at the line leading this race. It looks like the inside line starting to get together here. It's Demarest up front, Andrus in second, Jennikin in third and Jensen fourth. But man, if this is going to be a nail biter, if we go all 90 laps like this, everyone will be ecstatic. As here comes Andrews, he's going to return the favor to Demarest. He's going to drop back down that inside line, leaving Clark Janekin and number 81 machine out there on the high line. A little bit of weaving and shaking, but nobody wants to get out of line here. The inside line, if they can stay. Oh, here we go. That's Jared Ziegler involved in the first big one already. Trucks are going to scatter everywhere. We're going to grab you that Camping Universe instant replay. So watch Ziegler on the number 8 machine. Gets a little bit down on the apron, gets unsettled, and just not able to collect it. The cars behind him, or the trucks I should say, trying to scatter as everybody is dodging and weaving, and Ziegler unfortunately just could not get back out there in the right direction, and he collects, I believe that was the number 81 machine. So a big crash early on, several trucks sustaining pretty hard damage, and it'll be Janekin up front. Kendrick, Andrus, Demarest, and Melton will make up our top 5 as we bring out the first caution here at Daytona. So you guys are going to try and get all the way back around, get lined up behind that pace car, and send it back out. We're only 5 laps in so far tonight. And we're going to watch that once more from a different camera angle. You're going to watch Ty Hood, number 26 machine. He's got a great angle of what it takes to try and stay alive as there's carnage in front of him. Nowhere to go. And Ziegler just hooks across the racetrack. Ziegler's already hard on the brakes, trying to avoid everybody and do the right thing, locking up brakes. So Hood just unable to get through that clean. We're afraid. Maybe affecting his long runs as we see most of the field come into pit lane here. Kendrick, Demarest, Jensen, Veman, and I believe Patterson all stay out. So Kendrick, number 127, he'll get a lap lead here at Daytona. So it'll be Kendrick out front, Demarest second, Daniel J. Jensen in third, Veman fourth, and Patterson fifth as we have our first caution of the night. Just a simple mistake brought out the first big one tonight. It was Ziegler in the number 8, got just a little bit loose, got down the apron, and when he tried to hold on to it, came back up in the racing line, and then carnage out here at Daytona. We'll start getting trucks, I should say, formed up double file as the pace car crosses the line and get ready to send them back out. So it'll be Kendrick on the inside line in the 127 Chevrolet. Demarest in his Chevrolet, the number 42 machine. the bright pink and baby blue. He'll be starting on the high line. Behind them, you've got Jensen and Veman on row 2. Patterson and Melton will make up row 3. They've got a lot of racing still left ahead of them. We heard from the drivers earlier that, hey, we're expecting about a 27-28 lap fuel window at max speed. So a large portion of the field is betting this is going to go green as we continue to run things out. But your top 5 did not pit that time by. Out of 28 drivers that started, 25 are still out there driving. Ty Hood, the number 26 machine, he's still in pit lane trying to get his Chevy repaired and back out there. It is a season opener, so if you're going to have a rough weekend, now is the time. And then put your head down and try and salvage some points. But keep an eye on the front row. Things are about to get very exciting. They will be having to come in around that lap 30 mark just on fuel. As Ty Hood has rejoined the raceway after staying in his box for 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Jared Ziegler, and also a very long pit stop at 1:30. Those two drivers able to get back out there and going to try and salvage some points. Meanwhile, you've got Gabe Veman and Caleb Nelson. They're both out of the race. Pace car is in. Keep an eye on Kendrick on the inside line. The Camping World sponsored machine. Here we go. He's got Demrest on the outside. Daniel J. Jensen, he's trying to make a run on the inside as well. Right now, Demrest does not have a lot of support in that outside line. He's got about a 5-car gap before anybody comes to help him. But just like that, here comes Tyler Patterson in the number 1 machine, that Monster Energy sponsored race truck, the Ford F-150. He's going to try and get up there to the Chevy of Demrest 42 and see if they can get that high line working. Already there's trucks bobbing and weaving down the inside line. That could very well be damaged trucks just trying to get out of the way here, as they're playing a game of very, very fast snake hitting speeds of excess of 175 miles an hour down the backstretch. Kendrick, our current race leader, has Demrest on the high line. Demrest is doing his best to get that outside line working. We saw it work for him well earlier, as Demrest is going to drop down low, throw a block in front of Kendrick so he can get another lap led. But that outside line seems to be dominant once they get some momentum going. So now Demrest is going to try and get a push from Donald Kendrick, but keep an eye. Tyler Patterson, the number 1 machine. He's followed by Toby Estes in the number 2. They're going to try and push themselves back up to the front. Demrest starts bobbing and weaving. That is not what you want to do when there's a draft coming. As you can expect to see Donald Kendrick really using that bumper, trying to push Demrest further up and keep that momentum with the inside line. They've got the amount of trucks they need. As, man, what great pack racing here today. Donald Kendrick showing as a privateer, does not show as having a team out there today. Kai Demrest is racing for the Team Goon Squad crew, the sole truck on track right now. 4 or 5 major teams we see out there. We've got Assassin Motorsports with Jared Ziegler, Brian Ziegler, and Brian Robinson. You've got MSBS Racing, which stands for Mustard Seed, the Black Sheep Racing. That's Norman King, the 28, Levi Opitz, Jeffrey Sykes, Antonio Bianchi. You've got Nelson Motorsports represented here today by a father-son duo of Caleb Nelson, Kevin Nelson, and their friend Marshall Newton. You've also got the All-American Motorsports team out there tonight. Clark Janekin, Dave Gage, Brighton Hutchings, Corey Melton, and Jesse Rathburn makes up that team. And then finally, you've got Snake River Racing, Daniel Jensen, Cody Schultz, and Nicholas Wing all out there. But looks to me like the field's starting to get single file, maybe trying to click off a fuel run here. As Kai Demrest is getting a whole lot of support from Donald Kendrick's 127 machine. This is the first time these drivers have had the pleasure of running together. They had a bit of a breakaway there, as third place back, Tyler Patterson, Toby Estes, Daniel Jay Jensen were all battling for position. But Demrest is going to hold that inside line as tight as he can. And he said, hey, if those guys are going to come around me, they're going to take the long way around the racetrack. We're not going to yield that inside line this early. As Demarest clicks off another lap led, he drops a 49.38 his last time by. The fastest of the race so far, I believe, was a 48.67. You have to go pretty far back in the pack. The 11th place, that was Brian Ziegler able to put down that blistering fast lap time. Still up front, Kai Demarest behind them. You've got a pretty intense battle for fourth. That's Toby Estes going side by side with the 29 of Daniel J. Jensen. As it doesn't look like they've really figured out what line they really want to run, trying to figure out what's going to be fastest to catch up to Demarest and Kendrick. Looks like that outside line is starting to get some momentum here. As the number 1 machine, Tyler Patterson's getting a heck of a push from Toby Estes. Doesn't look like they're going to have it here on the backstretch as we see trucks dive into the inside line. The apron, I should say. I believe that was Don Milkwicks, I believe, diving into the inside line. Man, what great pack racing here today at the virtual Daytona Speedway. All of these guys really letting it hang out, and we're seeing some very impressive bump drafting from all of our competitors. Demarest, once again, your race leader as they cross the line. Kendrick second, Patterson third, Estes fourth, Brian Robinson making up your top 5. Donald Kendrick, the number 127 machine, he is up 18 spots so far tonight. So he did not have the qualifying run that he wanted, but he is able to get out there and push very hard very early on. Staying just behind Demarest's number 42 machine. We're on lap 14 of 90. It's still a long race to go. These guys have about 15 laps, our top 5 does, before they need to come in for fuel once more. As Demarest and Kendrick both put down their fastest lap times of the race with a 49.19 from Demarest, a 49.18 from Kendrick. Brian Hudgens cheering on AAM out there tonight. Always great to see the fans from across the world tune in, supporting their favorite drivers. As I believe Brian Robinson making good moves, number 39 machine. He wants a chance to run up front and maybe see if he can lead the charge to chase down Kendrick and Demarest. Man, they're side by side, lap after lap. Let me tell you, if you're watching at home, this is absolutely exhausting for these drivers. Even though this is sim racing, it's not as physical being in a 100-degree fire suit and holding on for dear life. It is still white-knuckle action for all of these competitors. And look at this. Here comes Brian Robinson, number 37 machine. He's getting a shove from Tyler Pass, number 1, trying to make something happen. Demarest and Kendrick still hold on to that inside line as tight as they can be to each other. It'll still be Demarest at the line, but that outside line getting closer and closer to making something happen here. As these guys really stretching it out, trying to push as hard as they comfortably can. And this is tough. You've got a field of drivers that are not used to each other. Demarest joined the league about 10 minutes before qualifying after seeing the broadcast link go up. So great to see him out there, but that just proves the point. You really don't know any of these guys until you've done several races. But right now, Demarest and Kendrick seem very comfortable with each other, pushing their way up to the front and holding on to that race lead. But man, look at Brian Robinson. He's got a little bit of damage on the inside of the 37 machine from that early incident we saw at the Tri-Oval. We're on lap 18, getting ready to start lap 19. So about 11 more laps on this fuel window for Demarest and Kendrick, who have both not pitted yet. Tyler Patterson, he's just inside the top 5. He did not pit either. So these guys will have to come in a little bit earlier than the rest of the field. And just like that, they've broken back into single file. Donald Kendrick, he's still up there in the 127 machine in second place. Bryce Andrus in third. Brian Ziegler in fourth. Tyler Patterson in fifth. And man, what great racing for a season opener. I don't really think you could ask much more from these competitors. They're putting on a great show, running very, very clean. So without cautions, we're looking at just over a 3-stop race based on fuel. Maybe you can get down to 3 stops if you really fuel save. But this is going to be an interesting one to watch from a racer and broadcaster point of view. As doing our math up here in the booth, it looks like it's going to be just over 3 stops on a fuel window unless you can stretch it out. Most of the field's broken down single file here. Everybody taking it pretty easy, trying to burn through some gas. You had to look to about 5th, 6th place back to see the battle going on as they're still 2 wide. You're watching Tyler Patterson, number 1 machine. Behind him, you've got Toby Estes and Brian Robinson going side by side. You've also got the number 66, John Dart, running the high line. All these guys trying to figure out a place in line here. I'm not sure if you can see a second line form up for a while, as it appears the field seems to be happy here, just clicking off laps and trying to get to their fuel window. Again, we're expecting to see Demarest and Kendrick come in around that lap 30 mark. Everyone else we're expecting to see come in roughly around the lap 34 or 35 mark. Not sure which of these drivers have actual crew chiefs. And when I say actual crew chiefs, I mean a human in the booth with them calling out the action. Trying to decide when and where you're going to stop. Having that real-life spotter is an absolutely invaluable asset to these drivers. It allows them to have someone else working on pit strategy while you focus on driving the car. And it also allows a little bit better call-outs, gives you a little bit more situational awareness of things that may be happening up the track that you can't see, that a built-in crew chief or a spotter would not call out. It's still Demarest out front. His last time by a 49.19. The same for Kendrick, Andrus, and Ziegler. Brian Ziegler. We have to differentiate. There's 2 Zieglers on track right now. Again, with so many family racers out here in the Camping Universe Series. Oh, they're getting, hold on to it, boys. Demarest may have gotten a little bit loose coming out of the corner, and that allowed Kendrick to maybe give him a bit of a shove and get everybody unsettled. So now Kendrick and Demarest are going to fall back. Demarest in 4th, Kendrick in 5th. They're going to try and send it back up there together. They've been working very hard all race long, doing a fantastic job bump drafting, keeping that gap among up on their competitors. But a big moment for our drivers that could have been much worse. So now it's going to be Brian Robinson out front, Brian Ziegler in 2nd, John Dart 3rd, Kai Demarest 4th, Daniel J. Jensen will make up our top 5. Right now, 4 through 6 have not pitted yet. The top 2 drivers of Robinson and Brian Ziegler both have come in already. Let's try and get a look at the rear bumper of Kai Demarest in the number 42 machine. See if there's any crinkling going on there. It looks like the number 42 machine does not have any substantial damage, so maybe he didn't get as hard as it looked like from our broadcast point of view. You've got the 29 and the 30 working together. That's Daniel J. Jansen and Cody Schultz in the 29 and 30 machines. They're working hard together. We do have an incident. That's Don Milkwicks. He goes way, way outside the racetrack. No caution. We're going to keep it green here. As Kai Demarest now, he's battling for third place. He's falling in tow behind Brian Ziegler. It's got to be a game of patience. You can work your way up to the front, but if you know you have to box in several laps, it's not worth the risk. So I think what you can see here is Demarest, Kendrick, and Jensen all stay in single file, letting these guys out front push the air and burn up a little bit more fuel. All these guys in the top 3 came in on lap 5 to splash up fuel and maybe fix some damage. John Dart, Brian Ziegler both took damage in that early incident. And man, they're side by side, 6 rows deep. It's still now John Dart. He's going to show as the race leader, but ever so slightly, as he still has Brian Robinson on the inside line. Behind Dart, you've got Daniel J. Jensen and Cody Schultz working together in the matching painted Ford F-150s. Teammates trying to get that high line working. I do appreciate the full sand paint on some of the rear bumpers of our drivers. As a broadcaster, I always appreciate unique paint schemes we see on track. And this is a field full of them. A lot of guys put in hard work, making sure those trucks look very nice and shiny. As we still have 24 drivers on the lead lap out of a massive field that started. A nice wide-angle shot showing you how close some of the drivers are able to get to each other to try and push their way up to the front. That inside line seems a little bit shaky that time by, but they do have the support of more drivers if they can keep that run going. I am curious, how is the damage of some of these drivers going to affect? We know John Dart had a bit of damage. Brian Ziegler had damage. We're on lap 27 of 90 so far. Again, the original pit window was 27, 28 laps. So we're betting that we see the likes of Demarest, Kendrick, and Jensen are 3 drivers in the top 10 who have yet to come in for fuel. We're predicting they come in around that lap 10 mark. As we're starting to see some drivers drop back down to the inside line, maybe trying to prepare for a pit stop their next lap. It is extremely important that if you do plan on a pit stop, you get to that inside lane as quickly as you can, because a lot of these drivers will not let you in if they're running very, very hard in a draft, running nose to tail. So let's see if and when we see the 42 of Demarest or the 127 of Kendrick come into pit lane. Man, the talent of these drivers, very, very impressive. A pretty decent run so far here under green. And we may see some first green flag pit stops out of our few drivers that were unable to come in yet. Now, if they do have to come in, it will not be the end of the world for the drivers, as they will be able to go out of 5 laps longer than the rest of the field. Daniel J. Jensen, he drops into pit lane. We're still waiting for Demarest and Kendrick to come in, but they are guarding that inside line. You see them right there on screen, the number 42 and the 127. They may be coming in this time by. If not, it'll be the next lap is our prediction. They're working through lap traffic nice and clean. The entire field doing a great job staying out of the way of the leaders. And, oh, we had a little bit of wall tap there. Able to hold on to it. No harm, no foul. Just a little bit of damage. So let's see, do we see the 127 of Kendrick initiate his pit cycle? It looks like he's hinting at it here. He is. Is he? I'm not sure. He might have just juked out your broadcaster. So no, he's going to stay out. He saw Demarest was not coming in, so Kendrick's going to stay out. It's still John Dart up front, Brian Robinson second, Cody Schultz third, Ziegler fourth, and Demarest fifth. So Kendrick and Demarest, they've got to be coming in this time by. You already saw Jensen coming in pit lane. He was the other one of three drivers who had yet to pit so far this race. So Demarest and Kendrick, the only two drivers who have not pitted yet. I suppose they're just praying for a caution out here. And they're going to stay out once more, it looks like. So we're going to run those race trucks all the way empty. It's Cody Schultz, John Dart battling side by side. Dart is in the number 66 Toyota on the inside line. Schultz is in the number 30 on the high line. They're going to be side by side once more going down the backstretch. A three-truck line trying to work the high line. Man, what fantastic racing from these guys. We're about a third of the way through here tonight and getting about a 25-lap green flag run. As look at this, Cody Schultz charging hard for the lead. He's using, I believe that's lap traffic working with him. Yeah, that's number 26, Ty Hood, who was a lap down, trying to keep that lucky dog position if we do get another caution. Bryce Andrews, he's currently running second in the pink and black truck you see on the high side line. And once again, lap traffic coming out to play, doing their best to hold the high line, let everybody through, but they're going to go three wide ever so briefly coming into turn three. Cody Schultz will get a lap lead here at Daytona. Demarest and Kendrick still have not come in yet, so they're going to be going down to the wire as far as fuel goes. I suppose just really hoping for a caution here, but the longer they can stay out, the better for their final run. They've gone about 30 laps under green. And the leaders are once going to go side by side. It's Bryce Andrews, Cody Schultz battling for that lead spot. Andrews is getting a good hard push from John Dart in the number 66 machine. Andrews, he has the support from lap traffic, Ty Hood. Man, fantastic race from these guys. They've been side by side for the entirety of the race. Different names have taken those top five spots, but the entire time one thing's been consistent. Good, clean racing. As it looks to me like things have kind of calmed down a little bit. You see a little bit less bump drafting through the corners and on the straightaways. So drivers willing to play it safe here, try and click away some laps before we really start battling for the overall race win. And I say it every week, I love watching green flag pit stops. Allows these guys to work on strategy and see what they can do as far as their racecraft. But here we go, look at that. Bryce Andrews switches to the high line in front of John Dart, the number 66 machine. That will allow Cody Schultz to get a little bit of a run, getting support. And now Kai Demarest, Kendrick, they're going to come into pit lane. As well as Patterson and Ziegler will come back in. So your race leader, Cody Schultz, Bryce Andrews in a very close second. Behind them, you've got John Dart, Brian Robinson, and Brian Ziegler still in the top five. All these guys doing a fantastic job out there. So about 31 laps is what we're guessing the absolute max of fuel is, as we saw Demarest and Kendrick do it just about that, not counting the caution laps. So we'll expect to see them around lap 65. The rest of the field we're expecting to see around the lap 60 mark. No, excuse me. No, the rest of the field we're going to see much, much earlier than that. We're expecting those guys to come in around the lap 40-41 mark at the latest. So that means if I'm doing my math right, Demarest and Kendrick have to plan on at least one additional stop compared to the rest of the field. The rest of the field should be able to make it under 2 more stops. So these guys will come in around the lap 40 mark, once more around the lap 70 mark, and be able to run to the end. So Demarest and Kendrick may be able to do the same, but it's going to be very, very tight on fuel at the end of it, especially if we get green-white checker conditions. They can find themselves looking at that gas gauge with a whole lot of apprehension and anxiety, as pretty much the entire field's broken down single file except for the 2 teammates of the 29 and the 30. They're going to keep running that high line for a little bit and see what they can make happen. That's Snake River Racing you see on the high line in those very clean white Ford F-150s. They're going to work together as long as they possibly can. Stay out there. Now, one of the teammates, that's going to be Daniel J. Jensen. He's a lap down from his teammate, Cody Schultz, number 30 machine. But he's going to also be hoping for that caution to come out, get that lucky dog, and find himself in the lead lap. And we've got guys cycling into pit lane already, a whole lot of them. Bryce Andrews, John Dart, Brian Robinson, Brian Ziegler, Toby Estes, Chris Samora, they're all coming into pit lane on lap 37. Those guys did about 26 laps fast. And man, I do love good green flag racing. All these guys doing a fantastic job out there tonight, hammering down, racing very, very clean. As far as new races at play tracks go, I've got to say this could be one of the cleanest, but look at this. Here comes Kevin Nelson in the 09 machine out front. Nelson's going to get his first lap led of this season. Currently up 23 spots, but he will be having to come into pit lane here pretty soon. So doing our math up here in the booth, it's looking like about 31 laps is the most these drivers are going to be able to stretch out of these race machines. As right now, it's your top 11 have not pitted yet, so they're going to stretch out a little bit longer. Most of these guys came in around the lap 6 mark for their fuel windows. We got some members of the audience. They're cheering on Kai Demarest, number 42 machine, our previous race leader, who did not box with the rest of the field on that lap 5 or 6. So he had to come in a little bit early compared to the rest of the field. Demarest and Kendrick have worked their way back up to 12th and 13th. They're going to be cycling through, passing about 5 or 6 cars that are on pit lane right now. And I believe, if I'm looking at this right, they will be the race leaders after the rest of the field is cycled here. But how long can Demarest and Kendrick go on that tank of gas trying to make it last? We saw them come in on lap. Oh, there's carnage on pit road. There's trucks everywhere. Levi Opit's involved. No caution coming out. But let's grab the replay of that, as that got very, very exciting very, very quickly. Grab your Camping World instant replay here. A little bit hard on the brakes, got some trucks unsettled. The 04 dropped back into the race line, just clipped the number 51 machine of Antonio Bianchi. And the number 31 machine, I'm very surprised the caution didn't come out there. as Levi Opus takes a hard hit, but he was able to get back off the race line in time to keep the race green. But man, that collected a lot of trucks there early on into pit lane for that cycle. So Kai Demarest will once again be your race leader. Donald Kendrick out front. These guys came in on lap 34. So in best case scenario, they'll be able to make it to a lap roughly 75. So I believe their pit window will be no, excuse me, 65. So I think they're going to expect to see them again, once again, hanging out to the absolute wire, try and run those race trucks empty. Demarest out front with his drafting partner, Donald Kendrick, the 127. These two have been working together all night long. There's a truck into the fence in front of them. That's going to be lap traffic. Thankfully, does not interfere with the race here, as it just takes one overcorrection after you hit the wall to find yourself careening in front of a race pack. So Demarest out front. Donald Kendrick, the number 127 Chevrolet. He's in second. John Dart, number 66, is in third. Brian Robinson in fourth, and the number 37. And then Toby Estes is currently running fifth tonight. They've got lap traffic ahead of them, but for the most part, the lead pack is running single file around this raceway. And we're seeing some fast lap times getting clicked off here, as some of the drivers have dipped down into 47-second laps. Jesse Rathbun, he puts down a 47.84. That is our fastest lap of the race so far tonight. Rathbun currently running the number 97 Toyota in the still painted paint scheme. He is running 10th on track, just coming out of his pit cycle. But you've got all these fast guys working together in a draft, trying to catch up to your now race leader, Bryce Andrus, who makes something happen on the outside line. We've seen Demarest and Andrus go back and forth for several laps, but that inside line appears to be very hard to work your way around without a whole lot of draft support. So it's Demarest and Andrus going side by side into turn one, as the sun's starting to set here at Daytona. Track will be getting cooler, trucks will be making more power, and guys will get just a little bit faster once they come out on fresh tires. As we will be at our halfway mark as they cross the line this time by. It is Demarest and Andrus going back and forth. Oh no! There it is! There's the big one at Daytona! Kendrick heavily involved, flipping through the air. What an absolute spectacular crash. And that'll bring out our second caution of the night, but we've got to grab you that replay. That is one of the hardest hits we've ever seen in our broadcasting channel, as Kendrick took the most spectacular ride we've ever seen in our lives. We're going to grab the Camping Universe instant replay here, but man, oh man, what a hard hit for Kendrick. Let's back that camera angle up just a little bit here, and he's going to get absolutely tossed in the 127. Let's see what happens. It looks like the number 66 machine gives a good hard bump to the 09, trying to push their way up. That might have been netcode. I think Kendrick netcoded into the 09 machine. And just keep an eye on Kendrick here, as this is the most violent crash I think we have ever broadcasted, as he goes up through the air. And let's count the rolls here together, ladies and gentlemen. He's already at 1. There's getting ready to complete roll number 2. And the hits just keep coming for Kendrick in the number 127 machine. There's a flip number 3. 4 flips for the 127. He goes for a 5th. He goes for a 6th. A 7th. He's still going in the 127 machine. He's at 8. 9. Can he make it a perfect 10 out of 10? Donald Kendrick, the number 127, flips 10 times here at Daytona. The most spectacular crash we have ever seen up here in the broadcast booth. An absolute shame as Kendrick was pushing very, very hard all night long. Dendrick and Demarest were the two fastest trucks for the longest time. And man, what an absolute violent crash here at the halfway mark at the Camping Universe Intimidator 225. Majority of the field's going to cycle into pit lane. Kevin Nelson opts to stay out in the 09 machine. Nicholas Wing also staying out. Kai Demarest, he came in on lap 45, but now Demarest knows, hey, the guy I've been working with all night long, he will be done for the race. Lots of drivers involved with that. Bryce Andrus, Clark Janekin, Norman King, Jesse Rathburn, John Dart, Marshall Newton, Jared Ziegler, Daniel J. Jansen, all heavily involved in that one. Donald Kendrick is going to have it parked for the night. He will not be coming back out on a racetrack because that 127 machine absolutely hammered from such a heavy, heavy hit. The majority of the field did decide to come in. You may see Kevin Nelson and Nicholas Wing come in for a splash off. They are, so will Jeffrey Sykes. That'll make Kai Demarest your new race leader once again, but now he knows, hey, Kendrick's no longer here to help with that draft battle. Who's going to be able to push me up to the front, or will he be surrounded by teammates out on track? They're going to line them up 2 by 2. It's Demarest out front, the number 42 machine. Toby Estes in the number 2. Dave Gage will be in the 404 machine starting 3rd. Corey Melton in 4th. Brian Ziegler in 5th. So besides Demarest and Ziegler, you've got a few new names up here batting for the top 5 spot. As, man, that was, again, the most spectacular crash I think I've ever called in broadcasting so far today. That was a hard, hard hit from Donald Kendrick's number 127 machine. Pace car is in. Demarest on the inside line. He's got, I believe that's Dave Gage in tow behind him. Gage with the 404, the bright yellow Chevrolet. It is a field of Chevrolets in the top 5 right now. As 6th place Cody Schultz and 7th place Chris Smorrell. They're running the 2 lone Fords in the top 10. Demarest and Gage are going to protect that inside line because Toby Estes, the number 2, is going to try and get a run working here. Not sure if we're going to see too much jockeying for position or try and get through one more fuel run from these drivers. At best, the longest we can expect to see these drivers stay out for is until lap 76. As Demarest and Gage getting a little bit of a breakaway there. Behind them, Corey Melton, number 48 machine, appeared to have some internet connectivity issues. As you can tell, Dave Gage wants to get around the number 42 of Demarest, but Demarest is going to hold that inside line, Gage has got to know his best chance of a podium spot is if he stays working with these lead drivers, trying to work that draft together, maybe get a little bit of a breakaway as they still have blinking behind him. I think that's Corey Melton. It is. Still having internet problems in the 48 machine. We're on lap 50. We're expecting them to run about to lap 76 at the latest. So they've got 25, 26 more laps to survive until their next fuel window. Hopefully we can do that under green flag conditions. Nobody wants to see this decided under yellow. 40 laps remaining in tonight's race. As it looks like pretty much the entire top 10 has decided, hey, let's drop in single file. The lead two drivers of Demarest and Gage are going to be able to get a little bit of a break here as they've got the number 48 machine in third place, Corey Melton, his internet problems. That'll prevent the number 5 machine of Chris Morrill from pushing him too hard in fear that Melton has a blink and then reappears inside the number 5 machine. Second row starting to form up here. That's going to be the number 30 of Cody Schultz trying to lead the charge. He's got the 37, Brian Robinson, in tow with him as well as Toby Estes and the number 2 Chevrolet. Trying to get that outside line working. I don't predict that you'll see any of the top 3 drivers try and throw a block on the high line to slow their momentum. I think they're going to play it safe and stick where they're at, as lap traffic will once again come into play, and that always gets exciting for these drivers. They're already 2 wide, so they're going to be very briefly 3 wide. That's number 97, Jesse Rathburn, staying out there trying to collect some points. And that appears to have stalled the drive of that outside line just by a little bit. It'll take them another about a lap and a half to get that momentum back up to the front, as Demarest still leading Gage and Melton, our top 3 drivers. And here comes the outside line of Cody Schultz trying to get a run. See if they can make something happen. Again, he's also got Brian Robinson trying to help him out, as well as Toby Estes. That inside line is going to stall a little bit as Melton still has those internet problems. And oh, they're shuffling back there right now. Demarest holding on to the race lead, but for how long is he side by side with Cody Schultz heading into turn 3? They're going to be 2 wide, about 5 or 6 rows deep. Now let's take a notice here. Who's going to be fastest at the actual tri-oval section, the start-finish line? Who's going to have the best run? Because that's what's going to decide, or predict, I should say, what may happen later on the race as we get closer to the finish line. 35 laps remaining. About 20 laps left in this run. As almost pretty much entirely everyone came in around the lap 45, 46 mark to splash off. I don't see many people that came in and out that took 4 tires based on the pit times, but we did see several drivers come in, try and get some more repairs done on their racecraft, as we are down to 18 drivers still on the lead lap after 2 spectacular crashes here at Daytona. You saw one at the tri-oval. One, and I believe that was going into turn 3, and we also saw the pit lane incident that collected several clean drivers as well. Demarest and Gage really working together strong here, able to extend their gap just for a moment. Every time they're able to do that and increase the distance between that outside line, gives them a chance to breathe. They've got arguably the best track position here, as they get to keep their eye out the left side window, kind of looking at the peripherals to see where that yellow line is. Helps you with your turn-in marks, especially when you're Dave Gage, who is glued to the back bumper of the number 42 machine. A great onboard shot from the 404, Dave Gage, as you see the what's an outlap painted Silverado of Demarest getting as close as they possibly dare going through the tri-oval. And here's the onboard from Dave Gage. We'll switch it to Kai Demarest. That's a shot right there. Oh, what a beautiful shot as Dave Gage has painted on the front of the 404 Chevy. And there it is right there. Gives a bit of a boop to the 42 of Kai Demarest. And they're going to keep charging up the racetrack, using that draft support to get up as far as they can. All these guys doing a great job. I love the paint on David Gage's 404. That boop letting the competitors know the bump draft is a-coming. Man, what great racing here for the season opener of the Camping Universe. The Intimidator 225 has been nothing short of spectacular. All these drivers have put on a show for everyone tuning in from across the world here today, and they've done a fantastic job. It's still going to be Demarest, Gage, Melton, Schultz, Smorl, our top 5 making their way around. That outside line led by Cody Schultz is not able to get as much momentum as they want, but they do have a little bit of hope on the horizon. They will be picking up one of their teammates as he gets ready to be put a lap down. That is the number 29 machine, Daniel J. Jansen. He's about 5 laps down. He's found himself involved in several incidents, but he quickly drops, or I guess I should say races to the high line, gets out of the way as quickly as he possibly can. I believe he's out there with a damaged race truck. They're going to go side by side down the back stretch. And let's see here. How much momentum can Schultz have running that high line with draft support? Or is he going to take some much-needed data here and realize, hey, that inside line has the potential to win it, as Demarest gets about a truck length over Schultz going on the inside line, getting ready to go into the tri-oval. A blanket can separate your top 5, and it looks to me like that inside line, if they can keep it glued there, they have a very good chance of bringing home a win without a huge, huge run from the outside line as we get ready to come to the end. We've got about 30 laps left once they cross the line this time by. That outside line getting a little bit shaky there, as Schultz may have been given a bump from Estes that wasn't the number 30 machine just a little bit. Demarest engaged, working hard. Demarest is hands down, has the majority of the laps led here so far at Daytona. And we've got to say that's got to be thanks to a lot of great partnerships he's found on track. Right now he's paired up with Dave Gage in the 404 machine before a spectacular crash. You saw Donald Kendrick in the 127 doing a great job pushing the 42 up front and keeping them there. That's what's going to take to get these drivers on the podium, is a lot of teamwork, especially later on the run. And we expect these guys to have their second pit stop, green flag pit stop, in about 15 laps. And that will be their final pit stop of the night. I think what we're going to see here is the drivers still try and stretch it out a little bit, keep that track position, and that way if we do have green-white checker conditions, not find themselves risking running out of gas. So I'm almost positive you can see most of the field try and stay out as long as they can. And the other important thing is I believe most of the field is on the same pit strategy here right now. So everybody that's still on track all the way from 1st to 18th has pitted on lap 45 or 46. They should all be coming in about the same time. As man, what spectacular side-by-side battling. Kai Demarest, Cody Schultz are going to go side-by-side down the backstretch once more. The tri-oval, I should say, excuse me, going into turn 3 and 4. Dave Gage, he's been on pushing duty in the 404 machine, as well as Toby Estes, the number 2. but that inside line seems to be dominant with only a 3-car pack running the high line, trying to make something happen. The inside line just has more trucks pushing more air to try and keep that speed going, but look at that. I believe that's Corey Melton. Oh, what is going on here? Dave Gage goes the outside line. He's accompanied by Corey Melton and Cody Schultz, I believe. They may get that inside line or outside line working with a big, big run. Demarest is going to find himself shuffled back to third, and they're going to leave Cody Schultz, number 30 machine, out high and dry here. So now it'll be David Gage. He's been on pushing duty for about the last 12 laps. It's his turn out front. Corey Melton, number 48 machine, will take over second. Kai Demarest goes from first to third in one swift move from the outside line. But look at Cody Schultz, number 30. He was up there in the top 3, but he's unable to get back in line in his number 30 machine. He is dropped back to 6th place, and he's going to keep losing positions here as Demarest hints at getting the high line working. I'm not sure if he's going to have the support out there. Demarest trying to pick up Chris Morrill as well as Cody Schultz. We know Schultz can push very, very hard, but has Demarest made a tactical error, and will he find himself shuffled back? We've seen how hard it is to get that outside line working and carry the momentum. But Demarest wants back out front. He's got the support of Chris Morrill and Cody Schultz. But that inside line just has so many trucks. You can see it on that screen. These guys are giving everybody plenty of room, not really working that side draft, trying to play it safe. About 11 laps till the next green flag pit stop cycle. As Demarest and Gage, they're going to go side by side through turn 1 and 2. Behind them, Corey Melton, Chris Morrill, both pushing their respective leaders, trying to get their lines the fastest. Demarest is trying to glue to that inside side draft of the number 404, Dave Gage. He's not going to be clear going to the next corner, but they do have a pretty good run. And look at the crinkle on the back of the 42, where how hard these guys have been pushing all night long. Aggressively booping, as Dave Gage would say. They're side by side going through the corner. I believe Gage did have it at the line there. 26 laps remaining here at the Intimidator 225. That outside line not as formed up as the inside line, it looks like. But let's see, does Demarest have a run? He's got the number 5 on his bumper, but we're not seeing any aggressive bump drafting here. Demarest does get it clear in front of Dave Gage, just ever so slightly. So Demarest will get another lap led, but we've seen Dave Gage, Corey Melton make something happen. A lot of these drivers communicating among different teammates, trying to get it going. So now it's Demarest once again out front. Dave Gage second, Corey Melton third. But now Demarest has to be aware. He's seen his competitors make a move. They realize they can drop out of line and make something happen at will as they're communicating. "25 laps remaining. They've got about 10 laps till their final pit stop is absolutely mandatory before these trucks run out of fuel. Who will we see possibly take an undercut here and try and beat traffic? Or are they all going to stay out there together and run it bone dry? So if these drivers pit right now, they can make it to the end of the race. We're expecting one more stop out of everybody. But it's going to be a game of strategy. Who comes in? Or will we see a final caution here at Daytona come out and really throw a monkey wrench in the plans of all these drivers as they are starting to bob and weave just a little bit. Everybody trying to find a place and a partner to push down the back stretch. Kai Demarest leading the inside line. You have Chris Smorrill. He's in 5th place, up 18 spots. Trying to get that high line working once more. Great racing from all of these guys. Very curious when we're going to see that final pit stop come in. Let's see if anybody's communicating or if they maybe try and leave some friends out high and dry and cycle in and out without them. Number 31 machine, Levi Opitz, getting some love from across the country. Levi currently running 14th place, and the number 31 Chevrolet, he is up 12 spots from where he started tonight, so having a great night, especially in his season debut. Getting out there, getting back out front wherever he can, so well done to Levi. Up front, it's Demarest, Gage, Melton, Newton, Robinson, our top 5 drivers. The top 4, all Chevrolets. Toyota currently in 5th. And then you've got Chris Morrill in back down to 7th place. Our lone Ford up there. 22 laps to go. The question is, when are we going to see this pit cycle activated from all of our competitors? They've got about 7 laps remaining left on fuel if we're doing our calculations correct. As Demarest gets another lap led behind them, you've got Dave Gage. He's pushing Demarest pretty hard. Corey Melton's in 3rd, a little bit of the ways back. And then Chris Morrill, the number 5 machine, still trying to get that high line working, accompanied by Cody Schultz and the number 30. And Kai Demarest is going to begin his pit cycle. About 10 drivers staying out for theirs. So that's going to be Dave Gage, Corey Melton, Chris Morrill, Cody Schultz, Toby Estes. Really about 11 drivers staying out. So Jeffrey Sykes, Antonio Bianchi, Kai Demarest, Marshall Newton, Kevin Nelson, Norman King, and Levi Opitz all coming into pit lane. This is going to be interesting to see what cycles up. Chris Morrill, he's going to get a lap led here at Daytona. The number 5 machine getting out front. Toby Estes, the number 2 machine, he is in tow. And just like that, Chris Morrill will not get a lap led. He's going to dive it into pit lane. And look at the heavy braking there. That was impressive. They're going to go 3 wide into the pit lane. Everybody locking up. Dave Gage hard on the brakes. Not sure if that's going to warrant a speeding penalty. Brian Robinson, Jared Ziegler, John Dart, Brian Ziegler, and Clark Janekin, and finally Nicholas Wing staying out. It looks like all of these drivers have pretty substantial damage out there. I believe Brian Ziegler and Nicholas Wing have clean trucks still. This is going to be an interesting final shootout. 19 laps to go in the race. Oh, look at this. Kai Demarest, the number 42 machine, had problems on pit lane. A 48-second pit stop. That sure looks to me like a stop and go, a holding penalty for speeding on pit lane. As the rest of the driver is going to come into pit lane, that's going to allow Corey Melton to take the lead once he comes by. So Corey Melton, I'm pretty sure he will be the race leader as he passes the drivers leaving pit lane. Melton, he had early internet issues. It seems to have gotten much better. And Kai Demarest, your previous race leader, after that speeding penalty, he started off first place, initiating that pit cycle, finds himself all the way back to 18th. So Demarest probably getting the Heartbreak Award here today. As look at this, a field of drivers coming out after their pit cycle. Corey Melton trying to make his way by, but these guys are going to quickly link up in front of him. That's Nicholas Wing, Jared Ziegler, Clark Janekin out front. All those drivers, I believe, have pretty hard damages. Look how quickly Corey Melton is coming around here in tow with Chris Morrill, as well as Nicholas Wing in the number 99 machine. These guys are really, really pushing. It is 17 laps to go. Dave Gage back in the mix in the 404 machine. They're running very, very tight. If we're going to see a last caution, it's going to be up here pretty soon as these guys are trying to make their way to the front. Corey Melton, he's up 14 spots. Chris Morrill, number 5 machine, he's up 21 spots. As man, what a sea of drivers. 17 drivers still on the lead lap here at Daytona in the final stretch of racing. Corey Melton out front, Chris Morrill, Dave Gage, Nicholas Wing, Brian Robinson, our top 5 at the final stretch of the Intimidator 225. I have no idea who's it going to be here because this has been great racing, great strategizing from all of our drivers. These guys are putting on a fantastic show for our season opener. Well done. This has been exciting from start to finish. Now lap traffic is going to come into play. That's Kai Demarest, number 42 machine. Demarest, the truck still looks clean, so I'm not sure. It must have been a speeding penalty. We didn't see any wrecks being happening on pit lane like we did earlier on in the run. We're going to back that camera angle out as they're going to briefly go 3 wide to 3 and 4. Demarest getting out of the way of the race leaders. He will go a lap down here. Corey Melton still out front. Chris Morrill second. Dave Gage third. But man, oh man, they're going to be jockeying for position. 15 laps to go. Everybody's going to be charging very, very hard here. 16 drivers on the lead lap trying to make something happen, all running very, very close and tight together here. Really, the entire field still running in a big old pack up front, the top 16 drivers. But it just takes one little error here or netcode like we saw earlier on, and you can find yourself in a bad, bad crash and getting taken out of the race. No fast repairs here at the Camping Universe Truck Series. Corey Melton, Chris Morrill, they're the top 2 cars on the inside line. There's Brian Robinson on the high line trying to make something happen. He's accompanied by Brian Ziegler in the number 7 machine. We know that outside line can occasionally make something happen, but they're playing a giant game of snake, not able to keep everyone linked up nose to tail like they would prefer. They're still side by side battling hard. It's going to be 12 laps to go as they cross the line. Corey Melton, he is up 14 spots, currently in first place. Behind him, Chris Morrill, the number 5 machine, is up 21 spots from where he originally qualified here today. These guys are putting on one fantastic show among all their competitors. And arguably some of the best plate racing show we've seen in a long time. These guys are doing great, running very clean. We've had our fair share of cautions, but for a season opener, a lot of new drivers with each other, not quite used to how everybody can run. They've been driving extremely well together. It's 11 laps to go, 10 as they cross the line. So who's it going to be? Is Corey Melton in a good spot here for a final runner? You can see that outside line led by Brian Robinson trying to get something working. Now this is where the bump draft's going to get a little bit aggressive from drivers. Everybody trying to keep their line going as quickly as they can. Everyone's going to be pushing extremely hard here. And man, look how tight those guys are together. Everyone doing a fantastic job. It's going to be Melton and Robinson side by side going through the tri-oval. Melton still has about a half truck advantage over Smorrell. Over Brian Robinson. Smorrell is the next in line behind Melton. They're both running that inside line together. They briefly look at 3 wide and think better of it. But if we're going to see something spectacular happen, this is going to be it in the closing laps here at Daytona. Everybody wiggling but doing a great job, staying nice and easy, running nose to bumper. Nobody wants to make any mistakes this close to the finish line and take out a possibly winning truck. Oh, we've got action going on behind them. Yellow flag is going to be out with 9 laps to go. Levi Opitz involved, several drivers in hard hits as you see smoke billowing off the racetrack. Oh, absolute carnage. Let's back that one up just a little bit. I'm not quite sure where that started. It looked like 2 different... No, it was one big crash. So it's going to be the 09 machine. Gets a little bit loose or maybe gets a little bit of help from behind here. Let's see if we can get it from this angle. Looks like he got a bit of a push from the 29 machine. Hooks across the racetrack, and that's going to collect a lot of innocent bystanders. Ooh. A spectacular crash once again here at Daytona. Kai Demarest locks up the brakes in the 42 machine. He was the lucky dog. If he can get through this without being involved in the incident, he should get a wave around here. Demarest will get through clean, so let's see what happens here. Let's see, does Demarest, he does get a wave round. I'm pretty sure he will be the lucky dog here and back on the lead lap. So Corey Melton, Chris Morrill, Brian Robinson, Dave Gage, Brian Ziegler, your top 5 as the caution comes out. And we're going to get ready for a final shootout here at Daytona. The Intimidator 225 putting on a fantastic show for all these drivers. As look at that, Demarest will get the lucky dog. He'll get waved around, and he will be one of 15 cars on the lead lap. Norman King, Levi Opitz, both involved heavily in that incident in the pit lane, trying to get some repairs done on those trucks. So only our 3rd caution of the night, so these guys have been averaging about 30 lap green flag runs, so well done to all the competitors out there. Cody Schultz, he came in number 30 machine. He took, I believe, at least 2 tires and a bit of gas. Other than that, I don't see many drivers in this top 11 pack on the lead lap, 12 drivers on the lead lap that came in for a final top-off. So I believe everybody has enough to make it to the end, or at least feeling pretty comfortable about it. So we're going to get ready to re-rack them for the final time. It'll be 5 laps to go once they cross the line for their starting lap. Corey Melton, Chris Smorl, those are 2 trucks to keep an eye on as they have charged hard up to the front. Melton is up 14 spots. Smorl is up 21 spots from where he originally started tonight. Only 28 drivers started this race, and we've got, I believe, 22 still rolling here. Maybe a little bit less, as we've had several spectacular incidents, several big crashes. And let's get ready to line them up. It's going to be Corey Melton, number 48 machine. He's on the high line. Chris Smorl, number 5. He's on the low line. Behind them, you've got David Gage in the 404. Brian Robinson in the 37 for our second row. And then John Dart and Brian Ziegler for our third row. Pace car will be in this time by for possibly the final shootout here at Daytona. We do have green-white checkers to contend with. But you're about to see some spectacular driving from all of our competitors. If there's ever a time to let it all hang out, now is the time. Let's see what's going to happen here. Waiting for that pace car, that iRacing Mustang, to make its way into pit lane. Then all eyes are on Chris Smorl. They've been running great that last run, staying together up front. I believe he can drop to the inside line here as soon as he can pass the start-finish line and possibly leave Dave Gage out to drive. But no, Gage able to get in line as well. He's going to be running second. Green flag is out, and we're about to see some driving from these gentlemen. Corey Melton out front, Dave Gage second, Chris Smorl third, Brian Robinson fourth, Brian Ziegler fifth. As it looks like Smorl very briefly looked at the outside line and realized, hey, there's no help coming. Oh, look at that. Brian Robinson looks at the outside line. He picks up Chris Smorl, the number 5 machine. Smorl drops back in, leaves number 37 Robinson out to dry. Corey Melton, Dave Gage, they're linked up bumper to bumper out front. Four laps to go as they cross the line. If we're about to see some bumpers being used to move some race trucks out of the way, now is the time. As they're once again 2 rows wide, 6 rows deep. As less than a second separates our top 10 here at Daytona. Corey Melton's going to be holding on to dear life as here comes Dave Gage in the 404 machine, really pushing the number 48 to the front. He's trying to avoid a run from Chris Smorl's number 5 machine to get him back up there. As, ooh, what are we going to see here? It'll be 3 laps to go as they cross the line. Smorl finds himself a half truck back from the number 48 of Corey Melton. It'll be Melton here at the line, 3 laps to go. That inside line seems to be a very safe place to be, very defensive. as they're able to get about 3 truck links going through 1 and 2, but then that outside line led by Chris Morrill has a good bit of momentum, just not enough to really get the drop down move going into turn 3, as all of these guys are pushing their friends as hard as they possibly can. Glued together, bumper to tail. There's a little bit of wiggling going on up front. That will get Dave Gage just ever so briefly off the rear bumper of Corey Melton. But Chris Morrill had the same thing happening in his high line. The number 5 machine got a little bit shaky. Brian Robinson, number 37 machine, had to get off just a little bit. Oh, there we go. The leaders are crashing. A huge, huge crash. As everyone in the top 10 involved in that one. How did Kai Demarest get through that? It's 3 laps to go. The caution comes out. Who did not get involved in that incident? Oh, let's get the replay of that one. We're going to try and get the Camping Universe chopper cam in effect. As that bumping and grinding just wasn't going to work out. Let's see where it starts. It looked like Dave Gage may have gotten too hard of a shove. No, Gage drifts up the racetrack just a little bit. Quarter panels the number 5 machine. That's going to put him into the then race leader of Melton. Gage also with an incident, number 7. He gets hit pretty hard. That's going to be Brian Ziegler. And then we're going to get you an onboard of this because this is about to be spectacular. This is Kai Demarest trying to survive traffic here at Daytona as another big one comes out. There is trucks scattered everywhere. Smoke fills the air. And oh boy, is race control going to be busy after this one. As we're going to get ready to re-rack them, Corey Melton, our previous race leader, comes into pit lane. Dave Gage, he's going to be our race leader for this start. Chris Morrill, who's also heavily involved, it looks like he's going to stay out. As always, we get ready to wrap this up. 3 laps to go. We're going to go into green-white conditions. We want to thank all of our viewers from across the world tuning in, supporting their favorite drivers, their favorite league, and their favorite broadcaster. We couldn't do it without you guys. I'm very excited to be covering all of the Camping Universe action all season long because I've got to say, for a first round, these guys have put on a show. This is the 4th caution of the night, which we kind of expected as we get into these final overtime conditions. A lot of drivers diving into pit road to try and get some repairs done. Let's see where the top 5 settles here. It's going to be Dave Gage out front, Marshall Newton in 2nd, Cody Schultz 3rd, Kai Demarest 4th, Nicholas Wing top in the top 5. Man, what a roller coaster of a night for a lot of these drivers. Dave Gage, I'm not sure how much damage he has on the 404 machine. Marshall Newton, he's up 25 spots in the number 76 machine. You see the heavy back right damage that the number 76 Chevrolet has. You've got Cody Schultz, number 30, which I was almost positive was a lap down at one point. He's got pretty substantial damage on the left side of his truck, really all over. Kai Demarest, after having that speeding penalty, he's made his way back up to the top 5, currently running 4th. And you've also got Nicholas Wing, number 99 machine. It looked to me like the 99 did have some damage on that race truck. He does have pretty substantial rear end aero damage. So what is going to happen here? The top 5 drivers, it looks like a lot of the guys have damage. Only a couple of trucks in the top 5 are clean. How much aero damage did Dave Gage in the 404 take during that final wreck? So we're going to re-rack them for possibly the final time here at Daytona, as it'll be a final shootout at the very, very end. Who's going to be able to bring home the season opener win? We know Dave Gage out front. He's got a very fast truck, but does he have damage? I believe Marshall Newton, Cody Schultz both have heavy damage. Kai Demarest, number 42, I think has a clean truck. Oh, yeah, look at the right side of the 404, Dave Gage. He's got a pretty substantial hit on that thing. The Chevy really getting abused here tonight. Pace car will be in this time by, and I believe this puts us in green-white checker conditions. So who's going to be the winner here? Are we going to see a final caution and bring it to a close under yellow flag conditions? Dave Gage out front. He's on the inside line. He's accompanied by Marshall Newton, number 76. Newton up 26 spots from where he really started. If Newton can even put on the podium, much less a win, the young driver, the number 76, will be absolutely ecstatic. Newton, he's racing for Nelson Motorsports, trying to get their team the first win of the season, if not a podium. We're waiting for that iRacing Mustang to bring it in for the final time and send these drivers out. It is going to be one spectacular shootout here at the Camping Universe. Intimidator 225, nothing but action all night long. Pace car is in. All our eyes are on Dave Gage in the 404, as well as Marshall Newton on the high line. Green flag is out. Here we go. Who's got the cleanest race truck here for the end? Kai Demarest, number 42, with a hard run. He's going to go 3 wide into turn 1. It looks like he may have a clean race truck. They're going to go 3 wide once more. Demarest not able to drop down line. That's going to allow Dave Gage to get a little bit of a breakaway. He's accompanied by Cody Schultz, Nicholas Wing, Marshall Newton currently in 4th. Demarest, he does have a clean race truck, but he does not have the draft support. So those slower, damaged trucks with the draft able to make something happen. They're going to go 3 wide once more. Demarest are on the outside trying to make it 3 wide. They're starting to wiggle. Things are getting very, very spicy as Cody Schultz takes a hit to the back bumper. Number 99, that's going to be Nicholas Wing, drops to the middle line. Oh, no! They're going to come around once more. Yellow flag will be out. Nicholas Wing out front. Dave Gage 2nd. John Dart 3rd. Kai Demarest 4th. So let's watch here. See, oh, let's back it up just a little bit longer. Let's see what happens here in slow motion replay. It looks like Schultz may go high. It's hard to tell if Demarest comes down there. Demarest was still in his lane, so that's a hard one to call. That's going to collect the number 91 as well. And the number 30, Schultz, is not having a great night tonight. So there is 3 green-white checker attempts here tonight. After the 3rd green-white checker attempt, the race will end under caution no matter what. So I believe we're getting ready to start our 2nd green-white caution. Dave Gage out front, Nicholas Wing 2nd. Dave Gage coming into pit lane, Kai Demarest doing the same. An interesting call here. Not sure if all these drivers needing fuel. Nicholas Wing, John Dart staying out. Let's take an onboard here. Listen to how much fuel saving these drivers may be doing. This amount doesn't sound like Nicholas Wing's hard on the clutch, coasting it. And man, look at the front damage that John Dart has, the number 66 machine. So this is going to be an interesting final shootout here. Demarest and Gage both in and out of pit lane very, very quickly on lap 94. I believe they have the least damaged trucks. We know Dave Gage had a little bit on the right side of his race machine. Demarest had a little bit of a tap as well on the left side, I thought, but it doesn't look that bad. So these two drivers, you have to keep an eye out because I believe they're going to be pushing very, very hard, as it looks like the rest of the field on pit lane for quite a while, 6th through 11th, all on pit lane. There's going to be 6 drivers still out there. There'll be Nicholas Wing out front, John Dart on the front row, Cody Schultz, Dave Gage, your second row. And then keep an eye on this one, as it's going to be Kai Demarest and Jeffrey Sykes back there as well. A lot of fast drivers still out there with relatively clean race trucks. As a reminder to our fans at home, no fast repairs. So any damage you sustain, you either have to deal with it and drive, or trying to come in pit lane and try and get some repairs done. So I believe what we might have seen right there is both Demarest and Gage coming into pit lane to assess how much damage their race trucks had. As we are once more under green-white conditions. Gonna rack them up 2 wide. Not that many rows deep. Not many drivers still out there. As we technically show 13 drivers on the lead lap, but about the 7 of those drivers are way, way back from the field, trying to get back around in time. We're going to get ready to send them out, but it's going to be the final shootout here at the Camping Universe Series. I'm not sure what's going to happen. We've got a fair mix. We got a fair mix of drivers with clean trucks intermingled with trucks with the heavy, heavy damage. Nicholas Wing, he's on up front in the number 99. John Dart in the 66. Your lead drivers do have substantial damage out of that top 5. I believe it's going to be Dave Gage in the 404 and Kai Demarest in the 42 with the cleanest race trucks. You saw Demarest trying to press the issue early on with that last restart. But here we go. Pace car is out, and away they go. Now watch this. Dave Gage goes to the high line. I believe you may see Demarest follow in tow. There we go. Demarest diving to the inside line, trying to squeeze his way through the pack here. We know Demarest has a pretty fast, clean race truck. He's going to dip to the high line, maybe get in front of Dave Gage in the 404. Those guys are going to try and link up. They've got probably the 2 cleanest trucks out there right now. As, oh, look at that. Nicholas Wing throws a nasty block on the number 42 machine. 2 laps to go. David Gage has internet issues. What's going to happen here? So it's going to be Gage and Demarest with the cleanest trucks out there trying to push their way up. Gage not afraid to use the bumper. Let's see if Demarest drops down here. He is not clear yet coming around the corner at the trial at the start-finish line. It was Nicholas Wing that last time by. The white flag is out. What is going to happen here at Daytona as they're side-by-side going into turn 1? It's Nicholas Wing, number 99 machine. He's on the low line. Kai Demarest in the 42 on the high line, accompanied by Dave Gage. We think those are the 2 fastest trucks on track. They definitely look the cleanest. Demarest drops down low. He's going to make it 3 wide. What are we about to see here? Here comes Nicholas Wing on the inside line. Demarest returns the favor with a nasty block going into turn 3. Gage swings wide, hits the wall. Nicholas Wing trying to get something happen on the outside line. He hooks into Kai Demarest. Demarest holds on to it. But look at this. Here comes John Dart. Passes below the double yellow. Demarest is going to get bumped at the end. That's going to be Demarest. I don't know who just won that one. I'm not sure if Demarest had it, if John Dart, who's showing second, or Nicholas Wing. What a spectacular white flag lap. While these drivers get that sorted, let's try and watch that lap once more from our slow motion at the line. Demarest and Nicholas Wing, or John Dart, are going to go side by side. Dart comes up the racetrack as Demarest goes down. Dart didn't really have anywhere to go there. So it looked like Demarest pinched him at the line. And let's see this once more. Oh, that is too tough to call. So Demarest, he's claiming the race lead here. I believe he might have had it in the number 42 machine. What a spectacular race! That was excitement. That was something. That was a season opener right there. We're going to wait for our drivers to make their way to the waiting room for post-race interviews. And let's take a look at the official results here. So as it stands, it's going to be Kai Demarest out front, John Dart second, and Nicholas Wing our top three. So we're gonna wait to get our top three. We're still waiting on John Dart and Nicholas Wing to get up there. All right, we got third place Nicholas Wing joining us in the 99 machine. Nick, you had it looked like a damaged race truck there at the end, but able to hold on to it for a podium. Man, what a season opener here tonight.
Yeah, got a little damage from a teammate running in the back of me on that one caution, but there's no harm, no foul.
Looked like great racing. I mean, what did you expect was going to happen in that final green-white checker? Were you expecting more carnage than we saw, or was that about what you expected?
Probably another couple wrecks.
Well, you did great out there, Nicholas. Great to see you up here on the podium. It's my first time broadcasting for you guys. You put on a fantastic show. Before we let you go, who would you like to give a shout-out to tonight that may be supporting you from across the world?
Snake River Racing. That's about it.
Well, good job out there, Nicholas. Hope to see you do well at the next one, my friend.
Yep, you too.
Up next, we've got John Dart, number 66 machine. Dart, you guys put on a spectacular show out there tonight, my friend.
Thank you. That was fun.
That was probably one of the closest finishes I've ever seen live time, showing it as .000 difference between Demarest. Was there a little bit of a moment to try and decide between everybody who actually won that thing?
Yeah, I'm looking at the inches and it looks about the same gap, but I'm not sure how they decided that.
Yeah, that was, I mean, you guys
It's
put on
close.
Didn't mean to step on you, John. So you guys put on probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. I mean, it's a season opener. It's a new league for the most part with a lot more new faces. Did you expect the racing to be cleaner tonight, or is that about what you thought was going to happen out there?
So I'm one of the new guys with these guys. Not sure how they race, but overall it was a very clean race. Only 5 cautions, 98 laps, so that was pretty good.
We did a great job out there, man. I hope to see you up here in the podium booth more often because between you and Demarest, that was one of the best finishes I've had the pleasure of calling. You deserve definitely second place and absolutely to be in the top 3. Any different plans going into next week for our next round, or are you just going to keep doing what you're doing and clicking off laps?
Just keep doing what I'm doing.
Well,
Hope to stay consistent.
Well, awesome, John. Always a great time having you up here. Before I let you sign off, who would you like to give a shout-out to that's supporting you on and off the racetrack?
So sponsors, Happy Dad, great race.
Well done, John. Very to the point. Hope to see you up here again next week, my friend.
All right, thank you.
All right, up next, the man of the hour, Kai Demarest, number 42 machine, bringing in the top spot. Man, what a showing among all of you guys here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. You know, after going a lap down there, I did not expect to be back even in podium contention, so I'm beyond happy.
It looks to me like you and Gage may have got into each other a little bit. You guys definitely had the cleanest trucks out of that top 10 group, taking the least amount of damage early on in the race. But, I mean, were you at all worried about what was going to happen between yourself and the number 99 of John Dart? Because you guys were bumping and grinding, going back and forth that entire run.
66 with John, yeah. No, I wasn't too worried about it because I saw he went down below the double yellow, so I came all the way down just to make sure he couldn't come back up and get a legitimate win.
Well, great job out there tonight, Kai. Anybody you'd like to thank before I let you sign off for the evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, James, for broadcasting, as well as Team Goon Squad for sponsoring my driving. Poor driving, but driving nonetheless. Thank you.
Awesome. We'll see you next time, my friend. And that is going to do us for the opening round here at the Camping Universe Intimidator 225. A great showing from all these drivers for their first time out. I had a lot of fun up in the booth, and I'm pretty sure they had a lot of fun out on the track as well. So on behalf of Camping Universe Truck Series and Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East, wishing you all a great night, and we'll see you next week.